Hey everyone, I'm really excited to have my good friend Seth Weisser with us today. Seth is a top producing real estate agent here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and has some very insightful things to tell us about how he starts his day and how that affects the way he lives. Welcome to the Morning Mindset. Right. Hey everyone, welcome back. So we have Seth Weisser on the phone today. Seth's one of my best friends, and I'm so excited to chat with him. Seth, how are you?
Yo, dude, I am doing good.
Come on. I'm doing awesome, man. I get to talk to you. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This is going to be awesome. I love what you're doing, this mini podcast here. It's a lot of good interviews that you've been doing and a lot of good information.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. And you're one of my inspirations for it. You kind of gave me the little go ahead and told me to do it. So I appreciate you, dude. Tell me something good.
Boy, dude, something good, man. Well, right now, my wife Joelle and I we're actually building a home right now.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we're renting this beautiful home down in Sanders Beach, right on the lake in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, come on.
And it's kind of spoiling us right now, so it's pretty awesome. Only 3 blocks from the lake, and so we're able to go out there and just check out the lake whenever we want. So
that's so nice.
Dude, that's what's good. We feel a little blessed and a little spoiled.
Yeah, there's a little bit of both. Definitely blessed, a little bit of spoiled. I like it. So, okay, on that note, you're building a house. Tell me about the neighbors.
Ooh, dude. So our neighbors are one of the best neighbors that are building right beside us.
Yes.
And that's a guy named Levi Gurno.
Come
and
on.
his wife Sarah and baby Hope. Yeah,
yes.
We're going to be neighbors, and it's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. For those of you who are listening, Seth and I, when we'll get into this, Seth and I work together. And my wife Sarah and I, Seth and Joelle are some of our very best friends, and so we live life together, and we're excited. So, well, that's awesome, yeah. Seth. So just for the people who are listening who don't know you, give us the who is Seth. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Ooh, okay. Well, first of all, I grew up overseas. Actually, I was born and raised in the Philippines.
Wow.
In the capital Manila. That's where I was born and raised until I graduated high school and took off and came back to the U.S. I came to the U.S. for the first time when I was 14. So I like to say that I'm American, and I am legally an American.
Yeah.
But I actually grew up in a whole different country, and so I'm still learning how America works, man.
Yeah.
But I moved over here after high school and I went to I commercial fish for about 6 years actually up in Alaska.
Oh, heck yeah.
On fishing boats. Yeah, and I went to a Bible school, and then I was a dean at a Bible school for a couple of years, and then met the love of my life, Joelle.
Yeah.
And we got married, and right when we got married, we actually quit our jobs at the time and traveled the world for 5 months, had a 5-month honeymoon, and that was fantastic.
That is incredible.
And then from there, we really wanted to plant some roots and find a community and help build a community. And out of the blue, we kind of picked Coeur d'Alene, and we moved to Coeur d'Alene not knowing a soul that lived in Coeur d'Alene. And that was 5 years ago now.
Wow.
And started real estate and just loving real estate, loving life, loving what we do. That's a little bit about myself.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome, man. Okay, so you touched on it. You're a real estate agent. You moved here 5 years ago. You're passionate about your community, and I can definitely attest to that. And you love helping build this community. So, Seth, along those lines, why do you do what you do? What drives you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, honestly, I feel like God has, really given me a gift to help people. I really, about probably 8 months ago now, I really kind of dug deep a little bit about my mission and what I do about, how I go about life and kind of like my purpose here on earth and what God's given me. And my mission is really to lead a life of generosity and joy that empowers others and create vision to become better versions of themselves. And so at the end of the day, you know, why do I do what I do? I get so much passion and I just love seeing other people become better versions of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like to me, that's a win. When somebody is able to reach a goal, or somebody's able to become the person that they want to become, and for me to be along that journey, like that, at the end of the day, I just love, and that just gets me going. And so yeah, and I just really feel like, you know, God's given me that gift, and just really using that and sharing that with others. I do love it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. And you know, knowing you, and I know I feel confident saying this, I think you really discovered that was your mission, because you know, you had already been living that life, and with that sense of purpose, and you just kind of went on a road of discovering it. So talk to me a little bit. Yeah, so tell me more, Seth, about that process and kind of discovering that and going into real estate.
Yeah, no, it was cool that you mentioned that, because you know, in that journey, kind of figuring out what my mission was, you know, I put it basically to pen to paper, you know, writing it out, digging a little deep. And as soon as I kind of put my mission statement together, I sent it to my wife, Joelle, and she was like, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's you. That's you living that already." Yeah. And it was kind of a big light bulb in my opinion. It was just really cool to see, you know, that I have been living my mission statement, but didn't really put pen to paper about writing out what my mission statement was. Yeah. And as soon as I did, again, my mission is to lead a life of generosity and joy that empowers others and create vision to become better versions of themselves. It was just really cool to kind of see it written out. Yeah. So
absolutely. And along those lines, because you and I know we went through that exercise together, and that's also when I wrote my mission statement and discovered that really was what I was passionate about. How have you seen, since you put pen to paper and really discovered what your mission is, how have you seen that help you create hyper focus and clarity in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So how do I see that in my day-to-day? I mean, so I do real estate full-time, and I know you mentioned that. Yep. And so just being able to do that in real estate. So real estate for me is kind of a driving tool to really use the things that, you know, my passion on helping people. Yeah. And so just being able to see people win in real estate has given me so much joy. And you know, seeing somebody, you know, helping somebody create wealth through real estate and create wholeness through real estate. So, you know, helping somebody sell their home or buy a home or invest in real estate, and me just being a part of that journey and just helping them guide through that transaction. And at the end of the day, they win. That, I mean, honestly, just brings me so much joy, and just seeing that happen through my, you know, daily job of real estate. Does that kind of answer your question?
Absolutely. No, it does. It does, because, you know, and again, you and I, we work, 2 feet from one another, I would say, probably on a daily basis.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except for right now. Except for now, we're both at our houses.
Except for now.
Yep. And, you know, I can attest to that. I see you doing that on a daily basis. And not just your clients, but the team, right? So let's talk a little bit about the team. And you and I were, is competitive the right word, Seth?
Oh, yeah, very competitive.
Very competitive.
Healthy, yeah.
Yeah, healthy competition. I want to beat you. But I also want to see you be very successful, and I know you feel the same way.
Big time.
So, can you walk me through? There's 2 parts to this, so we'll start with the first one. Walk me through, what kind of your transition into real estate, if you would, and why you chose to join a team, the Read More Group, RMG Real Estate Network. Walk me through that and the importance of team.
Yeah, the importance of team for sure. So I got into real estate through the journey of us actually buying our first home. Yeah. You know, my wife and I, and that was just shortly after we moved here to Coeur, and we moved into our home that we just bought, and honestly, it was just a couple nights went by, and I was laying in bed, and I was thinking, man, like our real estate agent did such an awesome job in helping us through that process. And it just looked like he had a lot of fun and joy, but also was really professional in what he does. And I just started asking myself, like, why can't I do that? Yeah. You know, like, why can't I be helping people in such a in such a big way. Most people, the biggest investment they're going to do is buying a home or selling a home.
Yep.
It's going to be the biggest investment. So just being a part of that has been awesome.
Yeah.
And then through that process of getting my license, getting the real estate, learning real estate, I actually had met you through that. I mean, that's when you and I kind of got together.
Yeah.
And you shared about, Read More Group, Read More Group Network and that whole team. And so I just started, going through that process and interviewing with Reed. And I remember the first time that I sat down with Reed and, the typical first few questions for the first interview, kind of figuring out who I am and who he is. And he started taking notes, and he was like, Seth, like, what are some big goals, big dreams that, you and your wife have? Yeah. And, I shared those, and he was like, okay, great, awesome. And he went through a few more questions, and then he asked, Seth, what are some habits that you have on a daily basis? And this was like 5 years, or no, 4 years ago or so, or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, habits, like, I read in the mornings. I have my daily devotion and prayer, and those are some habits that I have.
Yeah.
But I couldn't think of any other habits really. And so he put that down. He was like, okay, Seth, you have great goals and dreams. Like, those are awesome. I'd love to help you get there. In your habits, you have one habit, and it's a great habit. Although I don't see the reflection of some of the habits that you could have to the dreams and goals that you want.
Wow.
And so he said, Seth, like, would you like me to help you get there? And I was like, yes, sign me up.
Yeah.
And that was kind of just a turning point for the idea of being part of a team, right?
Yeah.
And so being part of a team that had the right mindset, had the right systems, and the relationships that really help people to become the people that they want to become.
Yeah.
And not just the transaction in real estate.
Yep.
And I remember Reed mentioning that real estate's going to become second nature to you, Seth. The hardest thing for you to do is learning how to take control of your own life and be disciplined and learn to become the person that you ultimately want to become. Yep. That's going to be the hardest thing. And as soon as he said that, I just knew that I was on the right team. Being surrounded by the right people to become the person that I truly want to become. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. And so through that process then, I want to touch on these daily disciplines and daily activities that help you become who you envision becoming, who Seth Weisser and Joelle and baby Ren, who you and your family want to become. So what have you found to be your most crucial, I want to say, like, daily disciplines that really help you, that serve that purpose?
Yeah. Great question. So a couple of them is I started this daily morning routine about a year and a half ago now.
Okay.
And I've always had my morning routine, like I said, like my daily devotions, but it hasn't been super consistent, I would say.
Yeah.
I would go in phases. You would be like a few weeks there, a few weeks not, and a few months not, and then a couple weeks here. And so it wasn't super consistent. And so my daily morning routine is like, it's getting up in the morning and getting ready for the day and getting a cup of coffee and sitting down before my day starts and putting my phone to the side, removing all kinds of distractions and sitting down and reading my Bible, spending time with Jesus and spending time in prayer and having my journal that I started about a year and a half ago. And that is writing out affirmations and writing out things that I'm grateful for. Yeah. So what I mean by that, I spend every morning writing out about 5 or 7 things that I'm grateful for the day, just to start out. Because we all know, like, as the day goes on, we just run into a lot of things that are negative and things like that. So I just have to fill myself with things that I'm grateful for.
Yep.
And so I do that every morning, and then I write out things that I'm affirming myself in. And what I mean by that is writing it out on who I'm wanting to become that day, because all we have is just today, right?
Yep.
We don't know about tomorrow quite yet. And so writing out affirmations about who I am, who do I want to become, and proclaiming them today. Like, today is a day, and I have to create that mindset. So when I write those out, I actually chant them every time that I write them out.
So awesome.
I read them. Yeah, I read them out loud. And so, so it's just, that's kind of my morning routine. It's about 20, 30 minutes in the mornings to do that. And then throughout the day, some other daily routine habits is honestly figuring or knowing my daily schedule and sticking to my schedule. And a lot of us, it's hard to follow a schedule, right? Yeah. But looking at my schedule every day and knowing what I need to accomplish and knowing the things that I need to do and actually following my schedule. Yeah. And that, just following a schedule has been so empowering. Yeah. And so good in order to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. Yeah. So yeah, I love that, and that's something that you've encouraged me in, and I know we've talked about a lot, is this idea of your daily morning routine, and even 20 to 30 minutes, right? It seems so like, man, that's a lot, but really the more you do it, it's such a little part of your day. How have you seen from prior to building that discipline to now you've had that discipline for about a year and a half? How have you seen that really just affect your daily life? Yeah. So it's affected like all areas of life. And what I mean by that, it's affected my business and the way I do business. And it's affected my personal life too. So like my relationship with Joelle, my wife, and my relationship with my daughter, Ren, and then my relationship with friends and other family members. Like it's just has brought more to it. And what I mean by that is, my mission statement, just being more of a generous and more of a joyful person and helping others be empowered to become better versions of themselves. And so that lives out stronger and more when I have those morning routines, and it just starts my day out right. And so it allows me to not get knocked down with negativity. It helps me not get knocked down with people just hating, what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. And so, we all know we live in a world of there's some hardship in our world, and we just have to speak truth to ourselves. Before the day starts, before the busyness of the day starts. Yeah. And so it's creating that right mindset. So I've seen it be really fruitful and really helpful in all my areas in life, and just a better marriage because of it, and a better relationship with my friends and family because of it. Yeah. And so, I really do see it in all areas of my life. Yeah, that's so good. And you hit on mindset there, and obviously I'm hearing your mindset as we talk, and obviously knowing you so well, I hear it all the time. Define for me, when we talk about mindset, what does mindset mean to you? Yeah. Great. Yeah. Mindset, honestly, to me, when I put it into words in my head, when I think about mindset, is being of the right mind in order to move forward. Wow. And so what I mean by that is knowing who you are and who you need to become in order to make the decision to move forward. Yeah. And so telling yourself, right? And so telling yourself, if you want to be a generous person or a joyful person, tell yourself that you choose to become, you're choosing to be a generous person. Yeah. Because it all starts in the mind. As soon as you tell yourself in your mind, then it leads to actions. Yeah. And action leads to results, right? Yeah. You can't have results without those, right? Yeah. So no matter what your mindset is, it's good or bad, you're going to end up having the results of when it first starts with your mindset. Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, that's what mindset to me means, is just being of the right mind in order to move forward. I love that definition. I wrote that down. That's wow. Yeah, I love that. And so, okay, I want to hit along that line, being of the right mind in order to move forward. You've taken it very seriously, just in terms of living out your mission in business specifically, right? Business and life, but I want to talk about business as we work together, and you've accomplished some pretty amazing things over the last few years. You were the top producer on our team last year of 30 plus agents. Yeah. And so talk to me a little bit about that. What do you feel has led to just your continued success, as I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you have doubled your business year over year for the last 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, honestly, giving God all the glory, and at the same time, learning these systems that the Read More group has in place, and trusting, because when you look at people being successful in life, everybody that's successful in life and what they do leaves clues, right? And so what I mean by that is pick up those clues, because you don't necessarily have to create anything new. Those clues are always there, and they're always there to help people to become successful in what they do, and just exceeding the goals that you have. And that's how I view success, right? And having your goals put in place and being able to achieve those goals. And so, yeah, I mean, I believe it starts in how I start my day out, right? Yeah. And that's how I start my day out. Like we've been talking about, my morning routine, and choosing the things that I need and want to do today before it starts. And trusting, once it starts, trusting the systems and the clues that are left behind for all of us to grab, and putting your head down and doing the work that needs to be done in order to do the things that you need to do to get the results that you want. Yeah. Because that's where it all starts. It starts with mindset, having the right mind, and doing the actions that are required, but also recommended to get the results that you want. It all pans out. Yeah. And so yeah, I honestly give all the credit to God. I give all the credit to my wife, and I have to tell you a story. Yes, please. Can I tell you a story? Yep. Okay. So these daily routines, like I've been talking about in the mornings, they didn't just start overnight for me by myself. Yeah. There's no way that you can do that without accountability, in my belief. Yep. And so, like I said, I've always had these daily routines in the past, but they've been on and off all the time, right? And so there's a period about a year and a half ago, before I started them full time, basically, where my wife asked me in the morning because I would get up, get ready, and then leave for work for the day. Yeah. And my wife basically, came to me and said, "Hey, I don't really like the way that you sleep in, get ready, and just leave, and not starting your day out right." It was almost like a stab in the heart. Because totally. I knew what I was doing, and I just wasn't being held accountable. But I was at the same time. My wife was holding me accountable, and so I had an inner battle of knowing what I needed to do and knowing what I wanted, but I just needed the accountability to get there. And so my wife brought it into the light, basically letting me know who I was choosing to be versus who I really wanted to be. Yep. And so we made a deal to hold me to a high accountability, to move forward with my daily routine. And so I told Joelle that I needed pain, and I needed what is this? Like a win in the end. So something to look forward to for me to achieve, to have these daily routines. And so right then and there, I said, okay, 6 days out of the week for the next 6 months, I will wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and have my routine before I leave for work. And if I do 6 days a week for the next 6 months and do that, I get $1,500 to spend on whatever I want. Yep. But then I needed pain, right? So if I mess up, there needed to be pain. And then I said, okay, and if I miss one day, those 6 days out of the week for 6 months, you right away get those $1,500 and spend on whatever you want. And I didn't want her to get the $1,500. I wanted the $1,500. Totally. Yeah, absolutely. So it started the very next day on being held to a high accountability to become the person that I really wanted to become. And now it's second nature to start my morning out right. Yeah. Yeah. And so
that's so awesome. So did you get the $1,500?
That's another story in it. And so I did make it. I did make it to the 6 months. Yeah. And I was going to get the $1,500 basically, but we changed. I hired a coach / trainer in my life, and it took away more of my morning. And so Joelle was sacrificing for me to do that. because I couldn't be in the morning with her and Ren. And so it was kind of a bummer for her. And so she sacrificed her time in the morning. And so I sacrificed that, and I actually gave it to her.
Nice. Talk about a win-win. And Joelle was probably happy. In fact, I know Joelle was happy. Wow. Okay, so you hit on accountability. And, obviously throughout this conversation, you've been talking about the importance of accountability. And, we have pretty high accountability on our team. And along the lines of accountability, I want to talk about kind of going back to what I mentioned before. We're very competitive, right? But in a really good way. I want to see you. I want to see you be successful and work in life, and you want to see me as well. How has I don't want to say just mine and yours, but how has I guess mine and yours. How do you feel having the competition that you and I have has helped you in your business, and then talk about the importance of having people surrounding you that hold you accountable and motivate you to level up.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's so helpful to be surrounded by the right people in your life.
Yeah.
That I believe, 100% that's true. You need to surround yourself with the right people to get to where you want to go.
Yep.
And so surrounding myself with you and people on your team, we're all about celebrating wins.
Yep.
And we're all about seeing who we truly are and letting us know that we can actually go further.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just doing more work or anything, but it's digging a little bit deeper to figure out why you do what you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so seeing us all achieve on our team, it's been so helpful, and it's healthy competition. And what the difference of unhealthy and healthy competition is, we celebrate wins constantly, and we push each other to become better versions of ourselves, and we push each other to help more and more people out in real estate.
Yep.
And that's healthy competition. We're never pulling anybody down. We're never making somebody feel stupid in what they do, right?
Yeah.
And we're constantly just helping and celebrating wins with each other. And the more wins that you can celebrate, the more wins that you're going to have.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's just been empowering. It's been really good to be surrounded by the right people. And that's why I choose to be part of a team.
Yeah.
And so, if I went on my own and created a team, it'd be the team that I'm part of right now. Anyway.
Absolutely.
So I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I can attest to that too. I think the reason that I have had the success that I've had is because I mean, the exact same thing you said, we're surrounding ourselves with like-minded people who want to see us be successful and who are committed to our growth, not just in business, but in life and in all areas. And so, man, I've seen that in you, and I've seen you model that and help a lot of people in the process. And so during what we're going through right now, COVID-19, coronavirus, we're working from home. Things look differently. It's been challenging. How have you seen your mindset need to shift during this time? And obviously, our daily tasks are shifting, but I want to touch specifically on the mindset and the thought process of, kind of what we're going through today, and how have you had to shift? Yeah.
I think, we all need a shift, and it's the choice of actually shifting is what you need to do. Yeah. And so what I mean by that is actually facing the reality of what's going on around you. And so what I mean by that is, we can't just put our head in the sand and just wait until it's all over, because we don't know when it's going to be all over. We don't know how long it's going to be. Yeah. And we don't know the results of everything that's happening right now. Mm-hmm. But we do know our mindset. We do know that we can still choose on a daily basis to become the person that we want to become, and still do the actions and or shift some actions that we're doing to get the same or more results. Yep. And so what I mean by that is, we're all having to work at home, and that's a mind shift change, right? Yeah, so absolutely. Not being so used to working at home. Okay, we're going to have to create a little bit more different mindsets put in place to still have the right mind in order to move forward, still working at home. Yep. And so, excuse me, I'm drinking some coffee, and so it's making me burp. But yeah, so just learning to shift. So in business, we're having to pivot and shift a little bit with real estate. And so you'll hear and see that a lot, and just doing things differently. And what I mean by that is, doing things more virtually. And you'll see that in a lot of businesses right now. And so shifting and doing consultations over the, through the computer, video conferences, doing some showings for homes for clients virtually through video, and learning to do a lot more virtual things is going to be a shift in real estate. And learning to have different conversations and learning. So what I mean by learning to have different conversations is learning to ask the right questions in order for people to think for themselves. And so knowing what to ask at the right time so that people can actually make the better choice for themselves. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what I want for people, is for them to realize that they can make a better choice for themselves. And so I'm here just to ask the right question. And so we're learning to ask different questions during this time, during COVID-19. And so I mean, those are some things that I've been working on doing a little bit differently to shift and pivot for business.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, the reality is, what we talk about a lot with mindset and is what we think about and focus on consistently we move towards. And, what I hear from you is that you're just moving towards continuing to live out your mission, but just in a different way. And that's really what you're focusing on, is how can you continue to bring joy and generosity and lead people, even if we can't meet in person and we have to do ththings differently. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. And okay, so I'm going to circle back before we finish up this call. I want to circle back to something that you said at the very beginning of the call that I think is unique. So you were born in the Philippines. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 8 brothers and 4 sisters.
8 brothers.
All from the same mom and dad.
So there's 13 of you. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And
I know, it's crazy.
Yep, I love it though. And you didn't even come to the US till you were 14, and then officially moved over when you were 18?
Yeah, pretty much after high school. So after I graduated high school.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think that's really cool, because that's, you really had a huge transition in your life. And you said it yourself, like, you're still, I mean, for those that didn't know this about you would never know this, but I mean, you've said it, like, you're still fairly, kind of learning a little bit, right? Like, you've been here for a while, but it's still, I mean, you grew up somewhere else. So I want to talk a little bit, or I want to hear from you on how did you make that transition, and how has growing up in a different country really affected your mindset now that you're in the United States, and I know you, and so I know that you're so grateful for the life we live here. So talk to me about that transition and your mindset through that.
Yeah. No, definitely a mind shift, coming, growing up in the Philippines and coming to the U.S. Very different way of living life. But ultimately it's, for me to have the success to learn to adapt and to learn to live life here in the U.S. is I believe just kind of seeing how my parents lived life. And so my parents were missionaries in the Philippines. Wow. And so they lived by faith on a daily basis. And so seeing that and being part of that, and just always trusting that the Lord was going to provide, and he did. And learning those I would say values at a very young age, and learning, my relationship with God at a young age, and just learning to trust and learning to have faith and take steps of faith. I think was a big key factor in learning how to come to the U.S. alone. Almost, but also having, my siblings that were living in the U.S. at the time, and just learning to adapt. I think at the end of the day, I'm pretty good to fake it till I make it.
Totally. Yeah.
And so, just pretending until I can fully understand. And so what I mean by, like, I'm still learning about things about the U.S., it's more about culture, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's more about the way that America is, and the culture of people, and the culture of the society. And so on a daily basis, my wife grew up in the U.S., and so every once in a while she'll mention like a show or a movie or something from the TV back when she was a kid. And I had I didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
And so just learning, the way that people have conversations and stuff like that, and learning to adapt, is more of what I mean by, I'm still learning to adapt.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it's just learning to have faith at a young age and learning to trust and to just move forward that things were going to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes things doesn't happen the way you want, but it's not looking at as a thing to move backwards, but just pivoting and shifting to continue to move forward and taking another step of faith.
Wow.
So I think that was a key factor just at a young age.
Yeah. Man, I love that. And I think that's a good thought to kind of to wrap this up on is learning to adapt, and especially when things don't go as planned. And and so, Seth, one thing I'd love to hear from you before I let you go is, the people listening to this, we're all in the same boat, right? It's a unique time where we're all going through different things with COVID-19 and the coronavirus. But one thing for sure is we're all being faced, we're all needing to adapt, right? And so how would you encourage the person listening to this who is either a business owner themselves or has a goal, or really just the everyday person who's experiencing some of the hardships that we're all facing right now?
Yeah, so what I would say is to find help. And what I mean by that is to find some kind of coach, some kind of mentor, some kind of person that has gone through not something like this, because I think most of us have not gone through something like this, but has gone through enough times where they know how to adapt and how to take steps of faith and how to shift and change. Because, we're not going to know what to do unless we talk to people that have gone through times similar to this. And so what I mean by that is, like, you look at any kind of athlete, any kind of professional, they always have a coach. They always have a trainer. They always have people in their lives to help them get to where they want to go. And that's why, and that's how they become professionals.
Absolutely.
And so any kind of, small business owner or any kind of business owner or independent or whatever, if you're working for yourself, you're working for somebody else, be surrounded by the right people to get you to go where you want to go, because you can't go by yourself. You're not going to go very far. You can go fast by yourself, but you're not going to go far. So be surrounded by the right people, like-minded people, to go far in life. And go together. So
that's so good, man. I appreciate that, and I think that's something that we can all practically really take away from this, is who we're surrounded with matters. And man, on that note, I'm grateful to be surrounded by you, Seth, and I appreciate you joining me on the morning mindset, and just your friendship, and I'm just excited to see how things continue to go for you during this time in your business and life, and I think it's just going to be amazing. So
I appreciate you having me on, man. I really do appreciate everything that you're doing.
Absolutely, man. So, well, right on, Seth. I appreciate you, and we will talk soon, okay?
Okay. All right. Thanks, Levi.
All right, man. We'll see ya.
All right. See ya.
Bye.